Oh, in Fairclough here with business once again. French companies dominating the day's earnings. Really mixed bag once again.
Lots of full-year earnings out this side of the channel, Stuart. Yeah, lots of the French firms reporting full-year earnings. I've put a few of them up on the earnings board for you. EDF have had an absolutely stellar earnings season, and judging by my electricity bill, I think over the past 2 weeks or so, probably going to have a very good first quarter of this year as well. You can see their full-year profits up some 200% to just over 3 billion euros. AXA Insurance, the French insurance giant as well, some fairly decent earnings, up around 50%. Just at the bottom there, you can see Renault as well, not so great, down some 40%, and perhaps the big earnings story this week with all that concentration on the Greek sovereign debt crisis. Societe Generale fourth quarter earnings, just 100 million euros in profit. That's down 89%, much worse than most analysts were expecting.
Well, let's just pick up on SocGen because it's a bank that's enjoyed a really strong rally. It still has a lot of sovereign debt to clear up, though, doesn't it?
Like many of the French banks, we saw SocGen's profits down by some 70% during 2011. Had a really strong rebound in this market rally. Just to pick up on a few more of the details for you with SocGen, they're reporting that they have written off some 300 million euros or so on their exposure to Greece after taking provisions, I should say, sorry, of 890 million euros on its Greek exposure, 890 million euros. Interesting to hear the head of SocGen, though, a little earlier this morning, talking about the importance of the European Central Bank's long-term refinancing operations, saying it had effectively done wonders for the banking sector. Long may it continue, was his message.
And the markets appear to be taking a bit of a breather after the recent rally, don't they?
Yeah, of course, we've had some disappointing earnings, the likes of SocGen, BNP Paribas before it and so on. So all of the markets opening lower this Thursday morning. The DAX taking the brunt of the losses. You can see down by around 1.3%. I'll just mention as well some official data in from the Spanish government that the economy in Spain shrank by 0.3% in the fourth quarter of 2011. Overall growth last year just 0.7%, 0.7% for Spain.
OK, Owen's got a few more of the day's business stories now.
Yeah, the former chairman of Olympus has been arrested over the false accounting scandal at the Japanese camera maker. Tsuyoshi Kikukawa and 3 other executives were detained on suspicion of violating a number of financial laws. Kikukawa quit after former CEO Michael Woodford blew the whistle on the cover-up of nearly $2 billion in losses.
Oil prices have jumped amid uncertainty over the immediate future of Iranian exports. According to state television, the government is beginning to reduce deliveries to 6 North European countries, including France and the Netherlands, in retaliation for the impending embargo. The government denied this. The price of Brent crude nevertheless hit a 6-month high of $118 a barrel in Wednesday's trading.
And some of the world's biggest banks are facing a downgrade by Moody's. The agency has warned Goldman Sachs, Barclays, Deutsche Bank and UBS that they're among around 100 banks and securities companies under review due to their ongoing exposure to sovereign debt in southern Europe. Earlier this week, Moody's downgraded a number of European countries while becoming the first agency to give the UK a negative outlook.
Now, Apple is seemingly unstoppable right now. Its shares were trading at a staggering $500 apiece earlier this week. Sales and demand for the iPad are demolishing the opposition. Big question, though, for how much longer will the latest copyright battle could spell disaster for Apple in the country it cannot afford to lose, China. Here's Caterina Vitozzi.
Apple iPads being pulled off the shelves in China, and not by customers, but by retailers.
All iPads have been taken off sale.
Chinese technology firm ProView has called for a ban on Chinese imports and exports of the Apple iPad. This is because they say the iPad trademark belongs to them. Apple disagree. Last December, they took ProView to court, saying the Chinese firm was guilty of copyright infringement. But Apple lost. Now ProView is calling for a ban, and some independent retailers are stopping sales.
There are 4 to 5 groups of customers wanting to buy iPads every day, but we've told them we've stopped selling it.
China is Apple's fastest growing market. They are still selling the iPad in their 5 flagship stores. China is also where the majority of Apple's iPads are manufactured to be exported worldwide. The US firm says they are the rightful owners of the trademark in China, having bought the global rights from ProView years ago. This isn't the only problem that Apple's facing in China. Their manufacturing facilities are being investigated following criticism of employees' working conditions. Although their shares hit $500 each last week, Apple could be in for a bit of a bruising.
Just while we're talking Apple, Stuart, as well, worth noting that Apple has told application developers that in future they'll have to get permission from gadget users before tapping into their contact information. This was Apple's response after 2 US congressmen raised concerns about one application developer called Path, which was collecting users' contacts without their consent. This, of course, all feeds into this whole privacy debate. We sat here many times and talked about Facebook, the problems it's run into with the US Congress on their privacy. This company, Path, I should add, has apologised for doing that and says it will no longer take users' data without their consent.
Now, finally, from Owen, something a little bit different. The gold rush to market the latest basketball sensation and a new trademark.
Are you ready for this one?
Give it to me. Suck it to me.
Linsanity is the word that is all over Twitter.
Right.
It has been all over Twitter for the past couple of days. This is in relation to the New York Knicks' latest star, Jeremy Lin. This is one of the best stories, as romantic sports stories go. This guy was rejected by a few of the top NBA teams before he made it and signed for the New York Knicks in December. He's only been there a couple of months or so. He scored the winning basket, a three-pointer against Toronto just a couple of nights ago. And since then, his name has gone into overdrive. There's even one businessman that's trying to trademark the name Linsanity. Had a huge knock-on effect. Madison Square Gardens, where the New York Knicks play, the company that runs that, its stock has surged by 9% since then. Lin's shirt is the best-selling shirt for the New York Knicks, and they've got some pretty decent players. So he's got some hot competition.
And this is just on the record of sort of 1 or 2 games.
This is on the record. They've played 6 games without losing, which is quite unusual for New York. It's one of these big teams that's failed really to deliver in recent seasons. As you say, he's really driving their success. It's a great story. He was a Harvard graduate. You don't get that many basketball players who've been to Harvard in the NBA. As I say, rejected by a couple of teams. Most importantly, perhaps, for marketing people, is that he's one of the first, I think, players of Taiwanese descent to play in the NBA, or certainly for the last 20, 30 years. Huge marketing potential. You might remember Yao Ming, huge basketball player, Chinese. He retired last year, so the NBA has been lacking a sort of star with appeal to the Asian market. He sold lots of shirts. The thinking is that Jeremy Lin can do the same. There was an all-time record on one of the Chinese web portals to watch this game on Tuesday night. This was people tuning in just to watch that basketball match, so there you go. Good luck to him.
Linsanity. Perfect stuff. Owen Fairclough Sanity on Twitter. You're always on Twitter,
Always
aren't
on
you?
Twitter. Well, being edged out by Jeremy Lin right now.
Exactly. Wow, yeah. Almost got the same number of followers. Not quite. Owen, thank you very much. That's Owen Fairclough with the latest business news. A lot more Linsanity coming up with Claire. She'll be here after the break.
Each revolution has its own music. 1 year ago, Tahrir Square became the symbol of Egyptian revolution, a sit-in of 18 days. 18 days which led to the fall of Mubarak. Every day, new poems and songs were written there. An artistic revival was underway. 1 year on, we went back to Cairo to meet these politically active musicians and poets. Many of them have now chosen to make a living from their art. But they all have the same dream, to breathe new life and freedom into their country through music. The Songs of Tahrir Square, Music at the Heart of the Revolution, a unique web documentary on France24.com.